Hello, welcome to the final chapter of Croneo's story. After this, there'll be a couple of videos detailing the character design origins for Orpiment, as well as recaps for every mon and their shiny. But yes, the end is nigh. But where have we left off? Well, at this point you should have 8 gym badges, beaten 6 titans, well, technically 7, and defeated 5 Team Syndicate admins, the last of which being the disgraced former Professor Barkley, who told you about the time machine he invented which can open up portals to Ultraspace, which has been transported to an undisclosed location. So naturally, you have to stop Team Syndicate, become the champion, and meet the box legend. Speaking of, I did promise the lore, which I'll get to after asking you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It would be a dream come true to get 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Also check out the links in the description to my Instagram and Discord, and consider becoming a member or Patreon today for cool rewards such as watching videos early and seeing updates on how my next Fakemon region is coming along. Anyways, lore time. You would get a recap on the mighty battle that the ancient Pokemon of time had with the Ultra Beast, and how its defeat left crystal debris which was then bestowed to 3 Pokemon to become Pritorate, Mebicordian, and Orpiteagle. However, more details would be revealed. The sense of familiarity the Pokemon of Time had with these crystals is due to how part of its body is made from the Time crystals, which is how it is able to have dominion over time. Its opponent was entirely made from these crystals, hence how fierce the battle was, as well as their rivalry. Although Pritorate, the Hindsight Pokemon, and Mebicordian, the Foresight Pokemon, had their transformations be completely successful, Orpiteagle, the Insight Pokemon, was less successful. The crystals bonded to create the Pokemon, but developed impurities, which still look dazzling, and still give it the powers to witness all that is currently happening, but it gives it some physical instability. You'd receive bits and pieces of this lore throughout the Team Syndicate storyline. You'd inform Professor Jasper about this during the phone call you would have after completing all 3 storylines. They would say that this all makes sense, indicating how it pieces together all of their research on the Big Beasties phenomenon. They would also compile what you've said and explain the lore the way I did earlier. Lurker joins the call to update you on his search for Team Syndicate's machine. It's actually operating in the Farlands, so you head to the Farlands and see a blonde-haired man wearing Crocs. It's Alexi. You also see Barkley tinkering with the machinery. Alexi proceeds to give his villain speech, stating why he and the others joined Team Syndicate. They all desired something greater. That's why they got into this evil business to begin with, but they were snubbed, or kept being snubbed, of this greatness. However, Team Syndicate gives them a second chance. Alexi included. He didn't create it. He's not the head honcho. He's just found a new home. Looker tells him to cut to the chase. What are they doing? Alexi bluntly says, "We want power over time." Looker is in shock, partly because he can't believe it was that easy, but also he can't believe what he's hearing. Alexi continues by saying he was inspired by the scheme he was part of 2 years prior. Their plans were not big enough. They just wanted to capture the legendary for monetary purposes. If they'd utilized the powers of the legendary Pokemon, perhaps they would have won. But why stop at the past or future? Why not both? Why not all? He's read up on a Pokemon called Gemporin, a supposed Ultra Beast made from time crystals. Perhaps it could help them undo their defeats. Perhaps they could stop future rebellion. Team Syndicate could be in control, and truly control the world from the shadows. Orpiteagle, the Insight Pokemon, is the key to this. It knows all the present, so would be suspicious already, but would try to stop Team Syndicate from using their time machine. They don't know if it actually works or not, but it doesn't matter. It's doing enough to cause disturbances in the fabric of time and dimensional space, hence the Big Beasties. Pritorate and Mebicordian wouldn't spot this, as these distortions hypothetically don't exist on their wavelength. Even if they were detectable, Barkley did some game theory, the mathematical subject, not the MatPat show, and it was statistically likely that Orpiteagle would be the one to arrive. It also has more unstable time crystals, so in theory, based on the research that Faber and Mabel have conducted, it is likely that a fusion could happen using Barkley's device. You both lunge to stop Barkley, but Team Syndicate won't physically stop you both. You then have a double battle against them, before Alexi immediately battles you after, gloating that he knows he's stalling, but doesn't care because you're too late anyways. It's a single battle with his new team of Cast Form, which will set up Mist, Grimmsnarl, Galarian Rapidash, Cronian Naganadel, Tinkaton, and Cronian King Gambit. He's surprised you're able to defeat him, but Barkley then calls over shouting, "I think it's working!" You start to see reality distort around you. To give visual reference, it would look a bit like the mirror dimension in the Doctor Strange movies. You then hear a bird call from above. Orpiteagle has arrived. Barkley cranks a lever which ensnares it. Barkley laughs maniacally before saying, "Well, I've captured Orpiteagle for you, Alexi. You know what to do, my dear." Alexi walks towards Barkley, turns around quickly, readjusts his clothing and hair. You are challenged by Syndicate Chief Admin Alexi again. He sends out Orpiment, but since it's not in a Pokeball, he doesn't throw one. See the Galar DLC or even Heart Gold Soul Silver for more. This is your first fight against Orpiment. I hope you're ready. You defeat it in battle, as you know how to deal with its ability and normal flying types. Barkley's laughter gets more intense. Dare I say it becomes a cackle. He proceeds to say, "You really are stupid, aren't you? This was a ruse. I can't believe you were gullible enough to fall for this again." He proceeds to press a few buttons, flick some switches, and raise some sliders. This appears to cause an ultra wormhole to appear. Alexi looks in awe, then says the following: "We are gathered here at the dawn of a new age. A dazzling deity has graced us with its presence. Soon the walls of time will wither and be tested to their limits. The world will fear our name of Syndicate, as time itself is our plaything. We walk across the world unbeknownst to anyone. This is our kingmaker, and thy name is Gemporum." He turns around. "This power sets us above the gods," before glancing at Barkley. "It has been your dream to play God. Isn't that right, Sweetums?" Barkley Len takes out a crystal with a button on it, which he presses. It starts glowing before Gemporum starts fusing with Orpiment. A burst of light then occurs. Once it dissipates, you see Orpithegle's corrupted form, and then a health bar, like with the big beasties, or the Titans of Paldea. I'll give you a hint. It's rock flying, so bear that in mind. You defeat it, and it roars an unnatural roar. You almost hear Orpithegle's natural call in there, but then it teleports itself, Alexi, Barkley, and their machinery away. Looker says that they need to find them somewhere. He has a hunch about where they are, but before he can say anything, you both see a crystalline echo of what Orpithegel once was, terrorizing people. Before roosting around the area, you fought the beasts of the Farlands Sea. You then fight it with Looker. After you win, you get a call from your grandpa, asking if you've seen everything that's going on, with a bunch of big bird Pokemon across the region. This instigates 5 more battles you need to have with these Orpithegel echoes, all of which in the previous big Beasties locations. Looker will join you in the Luring Islands, Jasper will join you in the Northlands and the Westerwake Ruins, and Gramps will join you in the Fluorescent Forest and Gosrickshire. You will also see other gym leaders helping out, as there aren't just echoes of Orpithegel, but a bunch of other wild Pokemon. You can even talk to them and see how passionate they are about helping everyone out. Once the Orpithegel echoes are defeated, reality distortions start to form, and all of it is coming from the top of Ben Cairn. Looker runs up to you and says you both need to get up there. As you ascend, you bump into Jasper and your grandpa. Jasper says they're helping him get home, and recommends you do the same. A dialogue option appears. I want to help Looker, or I'm gonna stop Team Syndicate. Either way, you are determined to see this through. Looker tells the other two, I'll keep the kids safe. You both arrive at the top, and you see Barkley panicking as Orpithegel is destroying his equipment. Meanwhile, Alexi seems to be chanting words. Gemporum hic est ut omnis nos finiant. He keeps chanting it. If you want to know what it means, he's speaking in Latin, saying Gemporum is here to end us all. Nothing in the game would translate this, but I thought I'd just say while I'm here. Anyways, in his fury, Barkley takes it out on you. His team is the same as before, but this time he adds a Galarian Rapidash. Once you defeat him, he melts down, away from you. This catches Alexi's attention. He turns round and calmly says, Gemporum hic est ut omnis nod finiant. Before battling you. His team is the exact same as before, just slightly higher leveled. I must note his King Gambit has Supreme Overlord as its ability, which he sends out last. His battle won't be easy, but after you beat him, Looker heals your Pokemon. Although, Orpithegel sees this, because its mind has also been corrupted by Gemporum. Despite attempts to fight back, it decides to battle you. Same thing as before, just slightly higher level and slightly different moves. As soon as it goes into yellow health, a purple crystally portal opens up. Barkley shouts, "It has opened up a portal. It's trying to alter time to its will. This was not part of the plan." Alexi continues to shout in Latin. A vacuum starts to pick up, and you start to be lifted off the ground. However, Looker intervenes and saves you from being pulled in. Unfortunately, he gets pulled in instead, and falls through the wormhole. The vacuum dies down. It seems like Orpithegel's power is weakening. Barkley goes over to Alexi and says, "Come on, darling, we need to go into hiding." Alexi wails about having failed. They both get away. You continue the battle, and defeat Orpithegel's corrupted form. The portal closes. Orpithegel appears weak. A flash of light then happens, separating Gemporum from Orpithegel before it flies away. Orpithegel stands before you in its purified form. You hear words burn into your mind.
Thank you, young trainer. The grasp Gemporum had over me is now gone. The instability in my time crystals has now been resolved. I am what I was always destined to be. As a way to show gratitude, I shall bestow myself to you, and fight battles alongside you as you wish. My only caveat is that you battle me as I am. Feel free to take as much time as you need to prepare.
You can battle it now, or in the post-game. If it faints, it would respawn the next day. It is dragon flying, and would yet again have different moves. You find the button Barkley was using. Its name is the Stabilizer, and it confused them again, and turn its purified form into its original form. You then see someone approach. It's Looker. The other end of the portal was the one you saw at the start of the game. Since then, Looker was waiting around until the time was right. He thanks you, as everything seems to be over now. He bumped into your grandpa on his way here, who said to tell you he's got 8 badges, and he'd meet you outside the Pokémon League in Gulsford. So you head there and meet up with him. He holds up a newspaper and is excited that his grandchild saved the day. It's front page news and everything. He believes you are the very best, that no one ever was. But there's one way to prove it. You both have 8 badges, and a fully evolved team, so he challenges you to one final battle, with his ace being the starter weak to yours, which is accompanied by a Crossbray, Hedgerow, Jackaterror, Drampa, and Alakazam. He's finally figured out how to evolve them all, and he knows how to use them. He doesn't hold back. Once you beat him, he gives you a hug. He's so proud of you. He wishes you luck for the Pokemon League. Go get him, Tiger! So you enter the league. Sure, it's the same building the previous Crooks used, but it's under new management. You are informed they can be fought in any order, just like last time. The order I will say them in will be for dramatic effect. The first I will mention is the normal Elite Four. Sunny. He loves his golf almost as much as he loves Pokemon battling. He's one of the best golfers in the world, and has proven himself despite accusations that he was just a nepotism baby. In the past 2 years, he's proven himself. He never really cared what people think, but more deserved recognition is nice for him. His team is Castform, which sets up Wind, Clubwool, Ooh, Prydion, and Golforb, which is his ace. If you rematch him in the postgame, he gains a Hedgerow. Time for a new face in the Fighting Elite Four member, Mackenzie. Her poetry is as fierce as her battling. Mackenzie's full team is Protest Myriad, Croneo Berserker, Nezuken, Bibelite, and Barasel as their ace.
His rematch teams include Croneo and Blastoise.
And yes, I used he, she, and they to describe Mackenzie. There are plenty of people who have no specific pronoun of choice, and Mackenzie wouldn't either. It makes poetry easier. If you're not a fan of this, you probably already checked out at the Professor being an MB2. But if you're still here to complain, you know where the door is. I'm gonna move on to a different door. That's the Dark-type Elite Four members chamber. Her name is Brooke, who would be a familiar figure to those who played Agate and Obsidian. Her ability to mobilize people in tough situations, and her battle proficiency, evident in her previous position as 8th gym leader, made her the perfect candidate as an Elite Four member. She sees you as a very capable opponent, and news travels fast as far as she's concerned, so she congratulates you on saving the region. She's excited to battle you. Her team consists of Croneo Zebstrika. If you didn't get the memo, it's Water Dark type now. It wouldn't be on Anastasia's team in Agate and Obsidian anymore. Dreadcap, Croneo Obstagoon, Weavile, and Nosferatu, her ace. Rematches would include Rotom Tick. The remaining Elite Four member is the ground specialist, Douglas. His fight to be eligible for consideration to be a gym leader ended 2 years ago. It turns out he was strong enough to be eligible for the Elite Four. He's humble, but can't hide his pride. He's honestly excited to face a new challenger, and he's formidable. His team is Petion, Croneo Crabominable, Sherlock, Cronifay, and his ace, Croneo Luxray. Upon rematches, he actually uses an Ursaluna. After these 4 battles, you'll be able to enter the Champions Arena. You hear fanfares and cheers. You see one of 3 people, chosen at random. Andy, Sammy, or Sophie. They remain undefeated in 2 years. If you connect your save file from Agate or Obsidian, which would be like if you connect your Black 2 White 2 game to your Black and White game, it would cause the champion to have your previous team. At a suitable level, of course. Assuming you did become the champion in that save. If you don't, this champion battle would be against all 6 starters, with the ace being the one strong against yours. Once you win, you head into the Hall of Fame with the Elite Four and champion behind you. Of course, you record your team there and the credits roll. And that's it for the story. There would be a few post-game events. Your grandpa Hamish is excited you're the champion and wants to fight you as champion on the top of Ben Cairn. Once the battle is over, he reminds you that you can rematch every gym leader, including the ones you didn't face, as well as the Pokemon League and former champion. You can also rematch Hamish at any time. You can also have a special battle with Dragon-type gym leader Heather, with her team she had as the rival in Agate or Obsidian, assuming you connected the relevant save file, like I discussed earlier. You can also rematch the 6 main Team Syndicate members, as Looker calls you about this. You can locate them doing shady business in a cave in the Farlands. A random one is available to be battled each day. You can even find the trainers who weren't around in Orpiment's story, but were in Agate and Obsidian. Taylor can be found in a house in Zampeton, Sterling can be found in Aberlachy, Miriam can be found in Gosfort, Rory can be found in Aldenu, Morven can be found in the big touristy building in the Farlands, and even Stuart can be found in Azamori. Mari can't be battled, but that's because her story doesn't end here. If you meet up with Professor Jasper in their lab, they help you track down Gemporum, who will act as a roaming legendary, updating your Rotom phone with an app designed to track roaming legendaries, such as Gemporum. Speaking of legendaries, you can complete side quests to encounter non-shiny locked Priorate and Mebacordian in the Zeninsula, as well as encountering each of the Regis in their temples. There would also be mythical events from Miskit, Destoon, and Empari, just like in Agate and Obsidian. The reason this won't apply to Croneo and Manaphy is because the room you found Barkley in originally is the same room you would have encountered Croneo and Manaphy. If you go there in the postgame, you find a scientist called Tim. He saw the door was left open, and decided to refine the time machine prototype that was just left there. He asks if you want to do some experiments. This would sort of act as the Dynamax adventures of this game, and sort of act similarly, where you can store 3 legendary routes, but instead of going into a den and just finding a legendary, you actually open up a portal to where you could originally encounter this legendary. If a particular legendary did not have a set location in the official series where they were encountered, they would just roam. Hence the app. But otherwise, you'd see locations such as Cerulean Cave for Mewtwo, Ho-Oh on the top of its tower, Rayquaza on the top of Sky Pillar, the Lake Guardians in their lakes, Ogerpon in its cave in Kitakami, the list can go on. I won't be exhaustive here, as that's not what you're here for. But if enough people ask, I'll leave them all in a pinned comment. If you get all the legends, you might even get some mythicals, and therefore Croneo and Manaphy. But that's it! The entire story of the Croneo region. Next time, I'll explain the character designs and why they are the way they are. Then after that, I'll do one final compilation of every Croneomon and their shiny. Thank you all so much for watching.